So I wanted to try out Nerde Crafter's acrylic paint pour bear kit, but by the time I got there it was sold out and I couldn't get it. So I did what many people might look down on, and I scoured the web and found that Shein has its own version and it's arrived. So let's have a look at this and see how it shapes up. So let's see what we get inside. So first of all we have this container, which I think is great, so that you can keep the mess contained. It does specifically say storage on it, so hopefully we can use it to store afterwards, although it might take a bit of cleaning up. We get 3 whole paint colours, which are the primary colours, so theoretically we could make any colour, but I want to see if these go far enough. We also get this tiny little brush, which doesn't seem the best quality, but I'm not really sure if you need a paintbrush for acrylic paint pouring. And then this spoon, which I assume we can use to pour the paint and sort of direct it a bit better, or maybe mixing. And finally we have this plastic bear, which is very plastic. I'm not sure how the paint is going to stick to this. Usually I would probably say we should sand this, but because we don't get sandpaper in the kit, I want to try and only use what we get in the kit. So let's see how this goes. So I'm not sure how well the camera will pick it up from my phone, but I'll try and show this a bit clearer in the video. This is the listing that I got, and it does seem pretty true to what you actually receive. And the comments seemed pretty positive, and here's meant to be like a marbling effect that you can get from the bear, and I think it cost me just over £1, maybe £1.50, something like that. So I thought it was worth giving it a go, especially because I couldn't get hold of the Nerde Crafter one. Obviously I would prefer to have got the legit thing, and I would recommend getting the legit one if you can, but let's see what this has in store for us. So these paints, I've tried opening them, they are quite difficult to open, but they do seem quite liquidy, which I think should work well with the pouring. It didn't come with any instructions, so I might have another look at the listing just to see if there are any, but I think basically we just put the bear, or hold the bear over this pot and then pour some paint over it. I don't know if these are the sort of normal pouring acrylic paints that you get. Normally I think you have to mix it with some sort of medium to thin it out, but these do look quite thin, so maybe they're pre-mixed. And yeah, I'll read through the listing, see if there's any more instructions, and then we'll get into it. Okay, to the shock of no one, no extra instructions on the listing, so I'm just going to try and use this little plastic spoon to spoon over some of the paint onto the bear. I probably won't get a good result front and back, but hopefully we'll at least get something going on in the front. Sorry if you can hear my neighbour mowing their lawn, but they're entitled to. It is the weekend and it's finally stopped raining, so hopefully it doesn't interfere with the audio too much. But I'm going to go to time lapse now anyway and just show you me pouring this paint over. I'm probably going to go blue, yellow up to red and see if they actually merge together and what kind of results we end up with. Wish me luck. So already I've just opened the blue one because I wanted to start with the feet of the bear, and it is chunky, so I'm gonna try and mix it a bit in here. I might try to thin it down with a little bit of water or something like that, but I've got a feeling that this blue's a lost cause and we might have to rely on the other two, assuming that they're okay. I just want to say these paint pots are super difficult to open, and when I closed the blue one it just went everywhere, which I know is at least partially my fault, but this is advertised as like a kid's DIY and there's no way that a child is getting into this even with toddler strength. So I'm gonna attempt to get into this yellow. The red I think looks okay. The blue I've added water to now, which I don't know if it's the right thing or not, but it's what I had to hand, and I don't really want to use anything that we don't get with the kit. So here's the yellow. Yeah, the yellow's way more liquid. So I'm gonna get some kitchen towel or something just to wipe off all the blue. Then hopefully we can get started properly. Yeah, I definitely regret my decision showing this blue pot because that's really difficult to open. So I want to have them all open so that I can just dip into them, but it's quite hard opening them all without one of them spilling. I didn't really think that this would be such a big hurdle, but they are really difficult even after I've opened them once. But finally, I promise we will get started painting this bear. Number 2, this spoon does not fit in these pots, so I'm probably going to have to use the sort of wrong end of the spoon, but clearly like no thought has gone into the design of these kits, unlike what I assume Nerde Crafters would be like, where she seems like a very thoughtful person who would make sure that the experience of these kits is what people want. My hands are so messy and I haven't even started painting yet. But yeah, I'll try and scoop with the wrong end of this and just see if it sort of flows like you want with the sort of paint pour effect. I have to give up on this spoon entirely and just basically resort to painting it on. This might be just a painting kit, which is fine, but it was advertised as an acrylic pour kit and I don't feel like these are pouring like you would expect with a kit like that. This hasn't been sat in the drawer for that long, so it's not like it's old or anything. And yeah, so I'm just gonna paint the bear, which again, for the price that I paid, even like painting your own keyring is a fun sort of cheap activity, but it's just not what was advertised. So I'm gonna go through and paint this little guy, then go back and maybe try to sort of blend the in-between layers. But this is not an acrylic paint pour kit. Not really shocked for the price, but you know, I held out hope. So we'll see if the paint actually sticks to this guy once it's dried, or if I definitely would have needed sand, the sanding paper just to rough up the edges and make the paint stick, which, you know, it wouldn't cost much just to put a little square of sandpaper in here. So yeah, I'll carry on with this guy and then let you know my final thoughts at the end. I don't hate this guy, I think he's pretty cute. I have attempted some blending, they don't seem like the easiest paints to blend, and as I was worried about, the blue in particular just isn't sticking to the plastic, so there's sort of areas where it's just a void and I can't make it stick. So I think definitely a bit of sandpaper in the kit would have come in useful. Luckily most of these voids are sort of on the back. I've added ended up mixing purple ears and then blue face features, and I'm going to leave this guy to dry and see if the paint sticks to him at all, or if as it's drying it creates voids. Not an acrylic paint pour kit, but it was like £1 and I think this was pretty cute, and you did get everything you need besides maybe some water to re-wet the paints. That might be one of the reasons why the blue paint isn't sticking to it as well, because I added the water. But I'm going to leave him in this little tub here to dry. I'm not sure if he's going to stand up. So we might lose some paint on the back of his head just from where he's dried on the side. But yeah, I'll leave him to dry, see what we come back with, and hopefully can give you some final thoughts. Nerde Crafter, if somehow by some miracle you do end up watching this, I'm sorry to have even mentioned your kit in the same breath as this, because it's not the same. The experience I'm sure is vastly different. Obviously the price point's a bit different, but I can see why, and fingers crossed in future I hope to be able to get hold of one of your kits. So he's not quite dry yet, I'm impatient, but this is how he's turned out, and actually I'm quite impressed that the paint hasn't peeled away very much. There's sections where it's thinner, but that was where he was resting and drying, and there's a few sections where the paint's completely come away, but overall I'm pretty impressed with the results considering we didn't sand him. I think he's pretty cute. Leave your name suggestions in the comments below, and I hope you found this fun. I hope it inspires you to try out a few craft kits of your own, and I hope to see you again soon, so bye!